Hi, I'm James from Hope Tech Works, and in this video I'm going to be talking about display outputs. Now let's have a look at the settings for displays by going up to the Displays toolbar and clicking Open Display Settings. In here we can see that there are two types of display outputs. One is the prompter, the other the timer. Now these display outputs can be output to actual devices or attached displays. It can be output to Blackmagic decklink cards, NDI outputs as well. On this particular computer I only have the built-in display and NDI, but if you have an external display plugged in, that will appear in this list. If you have any decklink or Blackmagic monitor devices, they will appear in this list as well, and you can select any of those. When you have the internal display or any external display that's handled by the operating system, you cannot change the mode or the resolution. This mode or resolution is handled by the operating system. However, if you choose a Blackmagic output or even NDI, you can choose the video standard that you would like to use. You can flip in either direction, horizontally or vertically. And in the case of the timer, you can set the aspect ratio to be auto, either what fits that particular display, or to follow what you have set in the teleprompter settings within CueCast, whether 16:9 or 4:3. Now, if the display is a 16:9 display, but you're outputting a 4:3 teleprompter output, it will appear stretched. So it's always best to keep it on auto. Now there's an additional feature here, and that is extenders. As you can see here, I have an extender that's currently running called MacBook Pro. It can be set up as a timer, or we can flip the output on each extender that appears individually. Let's go ahead and just select that extender, and I'm going to just set this also to 720p30. and make that actually the timer output. So I'm going to swap that over to there. Well, we won't use the prompter output in this case because it will be going to the extender, but you can do whatever combination you would like. We'll click OK. And now I'm going to switch over to CueCast Extender, which is actually running on this computer. And it says here, connected to CueCast Prompter, please start prompting. So we will just click the prompt button and go back to Extender, and there we go. It is showing the same output. I'll just move it over here and I'll set it to show on top, always on top. And let's just scroll through. As you can see, it's keeping up. And anything that we do on the teleprompter will appear on that output. So showing messages, hiding and showing the timer, and even running through the timer. That's all visible here. Any changes that we make on the script, even here in the editor, you can see, I'll make those changes here. Here's a change, is going straight through to the extender over here. Now, extender runs on Mac, Windows, Linux, even the Raspberry Pi 4, but there's a special configuration with that, and you can contact Hope Tech Works for more information about that, as well as iPad and iPhone. So there is an iOS version, and these can all be downloaded through the CueCast Prompter website or the App Store for the iOS and iPadOS versions of the CueCast Extender. Now while I'm in Extender, let's go through a couple of settings. First of all, I'll go back to CueCast Prompter and open up the preferences for displays. And I'll just move this out of the way. You can see here, allow extenders to control teleprompter while scrolling, and timer. Now this will allow anybody who is using an extender to control. Now this is a very interesting feature because it will allow talent that might have a extender in their desk so they can see the script in front of them apart from up on the teleprompter, or even just a computer running extender under the desk. And if they have a scroll controller, which we'll go through in another video, they can scroll the script themselves that way. without having to be tethered to the CueCast Prompter computer. It can all be done through the extender. So let's just do an example here. So I'll enable that option. Now, there does have to be a setting enabled on extender 2, so we'll go to the settings for that. And remotely controlled CueCast Prompter will be enabled. So first, for this to work, you need to set the ability for it to be done on CueCast Prompter, but then for each extender, you need to also set this setting here. So let me do that now. That's just so that you don't have a whole bunch of computers trying to control at the same time. Not that that's an issue, but it'll allow you to limit. So now I'll just go ahead and scroll on here, and you can see now it is scrolling within CueCast Prompter itself. So I'm doing all of that here in the extender. What's more, it is also compatible with USB controllers, just like CueCast Prompter is, which we will go through in another video when I actually have one plugged in. But another feature of these is tally. We can actually enable tally on CueCast Extender. It draws a coloured border around the outside and prints the camera name on the teleprompter output for Extender. It's very useful when running in full screen mode. If you've got a Raspberry Pi plugged into the teleprompter output, you can have individual tally appearing, and it works on TSL UMD protocol version 3.1. You can set the TSL address here and which tally the green, which will be the red tally, and the green will use the alternate to that. Of course, Extender can run in full screen, and we'll just scroll here and it just works. All right. So that's basically how the outputs with Extender work. Now I'm just going to run the video monitor from NDI. Let's run that now and allow. And we're going to see what an NDI output looks like from CueCast Prompter. As you can see here, I have the CueCast Prompter timer. And if I switch over to CueCast Prompter, well, I'm going to hold down the command key. On macOS, you can click a non-active window with the command key. I'll start the timer, and as you can see, the timer is now counting down in sync with all the other timers. And if I set CueCast Extender to be a timer, which is another option, you can set it within the CueCast Extender settings or in the CueCast Prompter settings. You can see the same thing. The timer is running like this, all in sync. Let's go and put Extender back to being a prompter. And we will also change over within CueCast Prompter to have the NDI output as the prompter. So let's hit this Swap Display Selections button, click OK. Now, it is a separate output in NDI, so you will have to go and reselect that source, and it is CueCast Prompter. And as you can see there, if we scroll, we can see that it is scrolling in NDI as well. And with the Blackmagic design output board of some sort, such as a deck link or a monitor, anything that supports those, such as SMPTE 2110, HDMI, and even SDI will work perfectly fine in the same way. Now I'll just go back into the settings for displays, and I'll show you how it works with two NDI outputs. I'll also set that to 720p and click OK. Oh, and I'll actually mirror it. So we'll go back to video monitor, and as you can see, we've got the two sources there. I'll click timer, and you can see it's backwards because of how it's been set within the settings here. I'll set it back, and it flicks it back around. Actually, Extender also has the same thing as overrides. They'll flip it upside down. So there is some of your options for display outputs within CueCast Prompter. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you can be notified of any future videos. Until next time, have a great day.